ladies and gentlemen. Ron Wallace here with Ballin' Down South Sports Network, here with another episode of the interview. Now, my next guest is a native from the state of Indiana. Moved here and went to Murphy High School where he played basketball. After that, he went on to Spring Hill College to play basketball, where he also earned his bachelor's degree in applied mathematics. Has been around in the high school coaching realm for quite some time, for a few years now. He also teaches math. He's also taught engineering and also robotics. So this coach is not only athletic coach, but he can actually teach in the classroom to your young kids. But without further ado, let me bring on Blount High School, the Leopards, varsity boys basketball coach, Daniel Forshier. How you doing today, Coach?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, Coach. A good Saturday morning here. No rain yet in the forecast just yet, but it's pretty sunny outside. But wanted to bring you on, man. Never had you here on the show. So you came all the way from Indiana and all the way here to Alabama. So talk a little bit about yourself, the people that don't know you, and how that transpired, how you got here in the state of Alabama.
Okay. Well, I'm a military brat. Both my parents were military. So I'm originally was born in Minnesota, but I lived in Indiana before I moved to Alabama. And just developed a passion for basketball and just been around it ever since.
Now, Coach, when you graduated from Murphy High School, I'm assuming you played guard, possibly played the 1 or 2, and maybe some small forward. But what made you choose Spring Hill College? Because Spring Hill has a reputation of getting academic, athletes and stuff like that. So they set the bar pretty high. Talk about how it was going from high school, playing in college, and how did you pick Spring Hill?
I wasn't a very highly recruited high school player, so I had an opportunity to walk on at Spring Hill and receive some academic money. Kind of earned a little athletic scholarship money here and there, but it was tough balancing the academics and the athletics at the same time. But I think the classes I took at Murphy High School really prepared me for college from the academic standpoint.
Now you got your bachelor's degree in applied mathematics from Spring Hill. How did you get into coach? What made you want to come back here in the area and coach? And looking at your resume, you came back to your alma mater to coach.
Yes, sir. Well, I originally was an engineering major. I was a double major, and I decided just to stick with math. And I was at a job fair and ran into my old principal. That was my principal at Murphy, and he offered me a math job. And then once I got the math job secure, I started, going around the basketball gym and met the coaches, and ended up my first year being a JV girls. I did that with Coach Fanny Brown my first year, and then I shifted over to the boys side with Coach Tim Waller with the freshmen and the JV teams for the next couple of years after that.
Well, also you've had coaching stints at Winston High School and also at Saraland. Talk about how it was coaching at those two schools. I know at Winston you was the varsity coach, Saraland you was the assistant coach.
Yes, sir. So I left Murphy in 2014, I believe, and had an opportunity to take over the head coaching program at Williamston. I enjoyed every minute of it. I was there for 3 years, and just outside of basketball, just getting to know the young people in that area. It really had a profound effect on me. Then I had an opportunity to go to Saraland, which had a really good reputation for being such a good school, and I wanted to see what it was like, and I had a chance to be Coach Andy Ryan's assistant on the varsity level, and that was just what I learned from Coach Waller, and then what I learned from Coach Ryan, and then I had a chance to go back to Murphy and coach under Coach July. It's kind of the old saying, you have to be able to follow before you can lead. So I think it was a good reset for me to just coach under the various coaches before I got back to being the head coach.
Well, now talk about your current job. You wound up at Blount High School. This should be your third year. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Third year at Blount. How did that job come about, and how did you impress the principal and the athletic director to go ahead and give you that job at Blount? Because Blount has a stickler for winning, and they are very particular about the coaches they hire over there. But how did you wind up getting that position?
Well, sometimes I believe it's just being at the right place at the right time. I came over the summer of 2018, I believe, or 19, and came on as the JV coach. And by the end of the summer, um, things transpired out of my control, and I ended up being the head coach. And we did okay the first 2 years. We're just working on getting better, working on our core guys going forward.
Well, talk a little bit about some of the guys you got on the squad. You know, you got Trayvon Broadhead, C.J. Pearson, Antonio Robinson, some real good key players. But I know you got some younger guys coming up as well. Talk about what your coaching philosophy is, and when you first got there to Blount, what was your goal and your purpose?
Well, from a basketball philosophy standpoint, I always like to first thing I focus on is half court man-to-man defense. I feel like once the players can understand how to play a good half court defense, then we can stretch our defense out further than that. So I'm more defensive minded. Offensively, I just need spacing. I want to put the guys in the space. And at Blunt High School, as you can see with the highlights, I'm just blessed to have good individual talent. So my goal is just to put them in space and teach them how to play off each other and just incorporate the fundamentals offensively. Um, Strong triple threat, and just developing the outside jump. Just go and get to the basket and that stuff they have already. We just got to make sure we go over the fundamentals day in and day out.
Now, Coach, if a kid wanted to come out and play for you, what do you look for in an athlete to make your squad?
Okay, well, first off, we see if you can play. I mean, can you make a layup? Can you remember a play? So generally, whenever we hold open tryouts, we kind of take a couple of skill drills and then get right into letting them play full court. Some guys look amazing at PE, playing half court with no help side defense, no one jumping at your shots, and then when we get basketball tryouts and we go full court, then you really see who can play and who can't. So once we get a group of guys together that we feel like we can be successful with on the court, now it's all about your character. We talk to your teachers. I mean, you're representing the school. We have to make sure we put the product on the floor that we be proud of on and off the court.
Now,
But
coach.
we definitely take grades and character is very strong.
Now, Coach, you got. I know Robinson plays football. He's the only football player, and I think Broadhead does too. How you're able to? I know you had those guys this summer. Are they still going to go back out and play football, or are they going to just dedicate to just that one sport?
Well, Travion Broadhead hasn't played football in high school. I believe the last time he played football was back in middle school. So since I've been at Blunt, he has not played football. Um, and then Antonio has decided to stick to basketball and track this season. But we have a lot of guys coming from football. I mean, probably half our squad is football. Cameron Gooseby and Kel Smith and Jerry Brand will be coming from football. Bruce Crenshaw may come as well, another big body. And these guys, man, they're coachable. Uh, they're already tough coming from football. And I mean, once their season's over, hopefully in December, they'll come in and just make an instant impact on our basketball.
Now, your first season there, you guys were like third in the area, and just last season, you guys were second in the area. So I'm looking forward for you guys to see if you're gonna be first in the area this upcoming year. And I know last year you guys lost that area game against Saraland 63-59.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what will it take, to get you guys over that hump to go further into the playoff and possibly up to the state championship.
Well, our area is 6A Area 1 with Centronel and McGill and Saraland. And McGill and Saraland are always tough. Um, it's fundamentally sound. McGill is always going to be scrappy. Saraland is always going to be scrappy. So for us, we just have to match their intensity level, and then we have to make sure that we're where we're supposed to be at on defense. I think schools in my area, they run a pretty intricate offense that's not just one-on-one. There's a lot of down screens, a lot of up screens, a lot of just um, a lot of a lot of movement on offense that we got to make sure we're able to defend. So this season, we finished third in the area actually. We got did we got swept by Saraland and by McGill, and they were all close games. I mean, you could hold up on one hand how many points they just by, and just came down to who could make more free throws than the other team. Uh, and then Central now is probably going to get tougher and tougher. They got a kid I think that's going to be a senior this year that was capable of putting up 20 plus points down in the post. So it's going to be a very tough area.
Now, what's your stance on academics? We know kids are student athletes, and that's what it's all about. You got to get it in the classroom before you can get out there on the basketball court. But what's your stance on it? What are some of the things you guys put in place if you see a kid slacking in the classroom and you want to make sure that they're staying eligible? What are some of the things you guys got in place over there at Blount High School?
With this pandemic, it was kind of tough. Normally, we do study hall during our varsity athletic block if we're not in season. We kind of balance it out between the strength and conditioning and then hitting the books. I like to pull their progress reports and just go talk to the teachers about their behavior in class and how are they keeping up. And I encourage my student athletes as well to reach out to their teachers and email them and communicate with them as well. But if we see a kid's grade slipping, then we have to step in and find kind of intervention, speak with the parents, find out what subject it is, what the problem is. Is it more of is it a true academic problem, or is it I don't get along with the teacher standpoint? Because we're dealing with young people, teenage boys here. So that's my stance on it.
Well, now I've been asking a lot of coaches I've been interviewing. You know, the NCAA has put out the NIL thing, allowing college athletes, to sign contracts with different companies for their likeness. I do see that coming to the high school level. Don't know when, but whenever it does, and if you're coaching, what are some of the advice you could give young adults, your athletes that's on your squad, what to do in that situation so they can make sure they keep their NCAA eligibility so they can continue to get a scholarship? Because it gets real funny when you start hiring agents, and you can't hire an agent, if you're trying to get to the NBA and stuff like that while you're in high school or college. But what would you tell your athlete, or what would you recommend that they do?
Well, that's interesting. On the high school level, that we're pretty far removed from that, but you're right. It seems like it's coming closer and closer with colleges now being able to pay their players for the likeness and whatnot. I would just tell them that quick money you get now will not last as long as your college degree. That's something I stress, especially in some of the areas I've taught in. A college degree could change that kid's whole family tree from with his kids and his parents, and just sometimes they'll be the first generation college graduate,
Right.
and that just really has such a profound effect on their family life and their home life. And I wouldn't give that up for the chance to make a quick buck now versus actually having a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree that you can take and make money for your life with.
Now, what's your stance on social media, bad and good? We know social media can be great, but also it can be bad.
Mm.
What are you guys teaching your athletes over there at Blount High School about dealing with social media and possibly trying to get recruited?
Yeah, so with social media, like you said, it's a double-edged sword. It can really get the kid information out there, but it can also get their bad information out there. Like we were just talking the other day, just correcting some of the guys' behavior on our little closed circuit group me app we have where we keep up with them and just get information out to them. How are you spelling words? How are you projecting yourself? If you're trying to appeal to colleges, but you're speaking in a very rudimentary text message based language with the OMGs and all that stuff, I don't know if I was a college coach if can this kid pass my freshman English class? Are we going to be worried about him being able to write a paper on the next level? So especially guys that are trying to market themselves to the next level on the college level, we just try to tell them to clean it up. Pretend your great grandma and your baby sister watching your social media page. And make sure you put positive energy out there, and don't give anybody a reason to think anything negative.
Well,
So social media, I'm not real big on it. Lately, I've had to get it, follow my players and make sure they're staying in line. But my JV coach, Coach James, he's doing a phenomenal job running our social media pages. He does all our videography as well. And my hat's off to him for helping with that burden there.
And my last question: if you got a kid that's going to the 12th grade, or you got a 12th grader getting ready to go off to college, it's summertime. What would you encourage those kids to do? Rather it's academics, working on their craft, getting ready for that next level. What would you suggest to those kids?
Academically, if they're in a situation where they could start school early in the summer with the summer classes, I definitely encourage that for them to kind of get their feet wet with college courses. But even if it wasn't that, there's local community things they can do to keep academically inclined and not just sitting around. And then athletically, I always encourage them to come back in the gym with us. I always try to create that climate and that culture for our graduating students. Still come back and get to work with us in the gym and kind of rub off on the younger players.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Blount High School varsity boys basketball coach Daniel Forshier. Thank you for coming on Network Day, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.